All right, so part 3 for the third-person tower defense. So today we're going to get the weapon, we're going to attach the weapon to the character, we're going to create the animations and all the blueprints and everything that goes with that. And then we'll create a crosshair with a simple UI. So starting off, we're going to start off in the Epic Games Marketplace first. So look up Military Weapons Dark. I already have it pulled up here. And just hit add to project. We'll download it and then add it to project if you haven't downloaded already. Then click on your project, and then for the select version, click the drop down menu and click the latest version, which is 4.27 as of right now, and hit add to project. So that's done. We can close out of that and pull up our actual project. Shift F11 to maximize that. All right, so picking off where we started off. Picking up where we left off. All right, going back to content. Third person, blueprints, BP third person. So if I go to the viewport, I'm gonna pull up the animations right now because we're gonna use it. AVP player, and you can just hit the skeleton up here, and that'll take you to the skeleton, the little blue skeleton in the top right. So we're going to be looking for the right hand because he's going to be a right-handed shooter, and it's going to be hand_R right here. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to create a socket off of it. So add a socket, the hand_R socket, and we can just create a preview off of that. And this is the weapon we're going to use, the assault rifle B. You can use whatever weapon you want if you have animations for it, but we already set the previous animations for a rifle. It's easier to kind of place this in place with an actual animation that we're going to use. So I'm going to say idle iron sights. Yeah, idle rifle iron sights. Okay, so that's not where it needs to go. So you want to pause this, because if you don't pause it, it kind of slides in a funny way. And that is kind of big. Let's shrink it down, 0.8, tab, 0.8, tab, 0.8. So 0.8 smaller, more or less. It's good enough. Okay, so now we want to put it in the position that we want our guy to hold the weapon in. And you can play around with this as much as you want. If you hold the right click and then you use the scroll wheel to scroll down, it'll reduce the camera speed, and it becomes a little bit easier to manage with more fine-tuned controlling. So, I don't know, something like that is fine for me right now. You guys might want to mess with it a little bit more. For me, that's fine right now. So I'm going to save it. And I don't know if I'm going to need it later. I'm going to keep it there just in case. So going back to my third person character, I want to add the actual skeleton of this gun. So I'm going to hit add, and then I'm going to add a skeleton. And we'll call it weapon. And we want to just drag that onto the mesh. So it's attached to our character mesh. And then under the parent socket thing, we want to look for our hand_R socket, which is right up here. And we don't have an actual animation. All right, so under skeletal mesh asset, we want to pick our rifle. And it is floating in the sky. So all you need to do is under the transform, hit these default value, reset to default value buttons, and it'll reset it to exactly where we had it when we were messing with it in the skeleton. So that should be good. I have the gun, you can't see it, my body's kind of blocking it. All right, so back to, let's do this first. We want to create an actual aiming thing. So we're going to create a state machine, which generates states. So we want to create locomotion, which is going to be all of our movement stuff. So I'm going to cut this out because this is part of the movement. So Control X to cut. And then under the entry here, we can hit add a state. And this is going to be idle and jog. And this is going to be where we have our idle and jog animation that we just cut out. So attach that to the output animation pose. And now we want to add another state, and this state is going to be aiming. So let's do this. And then we want we want a transition between these two different things. So aiming, this is just going to be our idle rifle iron sights, rifle iron sights. Okay, that's good. And we want to create a variable here. So if it is aiming, I'm gonna question mark. If it is aiming, then it'll enter the transition to the aiming animation. If it is not, so is aiming, and then get a not Boolean, and attach that. It is not aiming, and it'll be idle and jogging. So go back to the anim graph because I didn't attach this thing. Attach that here, and now we have that. So now we need to actually create an input for that. So go to third person, input, actions, and then we're going to create an input action for aiming. So IA underscore, I hit the caps lock, aim. IA aim, cool. You can leave that, go to the IMC default, which is in the same, it's right outside the actions folder. And these are going to be all the mappings for our different input actions. So you have jump, move, look, and now we have aim, the one we just created. And all we have to do is click on this keyboard and then right click, because right click is going to be our aiming animation. So that's all you have to do. So close out of that. And now we should go to the third person character, go to the event graph, and then find the input action we just created. So it'd be IA aim. All right, so you can hit this drop down menu, get more options. We'll be using more options. So we need to create another variable. I don't want to call it is aiming as well. I'll just call it aiming. So it's not is aiming, it's aiming, question mark. So we want to set that for started, and then to duplicate something, you just hold Control and press D while highlighting something else, and it'll duplicate whatever it is. So it's going to be aiming yes. The top one's going to be my yes. And then if it is aiming, we want to change the movement. We want to slow down the player while he's aiming. So it's going to be max movement speed set max walk speed, and then control D again, so we get another one of these. Attach the execution pins, and we'll set the walk speed to something like, so normal speed is 500, so this will be like 150. And this one's going to be 500 because you're going back to your normal speed. Oh, I didn't attach this. Okay, that's fine. Should we create a timeline? Yeah, let's create a timeline. It adds for a more smooth transition between zooming in and zooming out from the camera, because I'm going to change the camera boom for the arm length. So this can be play from start and then reverse from end. Go in here, and for aiming, you don't really want it to be a long time, so it's like 0.3 seconds would be good. And create a track, add a float track, and let's add some curve keys. And the time is going to be 0, and the other one's going to be 0.3, which is the max time that we set. And the normal camera length is 400, so you're going from 400 to 200, and then reversing from end. So 400 to 200. And then if you control click this one's already highlighted, but you want to highlight all your curves, or all 2 of them, and then you right click and click auto, and it'll create this curve. It's just a smoother curve for transitions. And that's all you need to do for that. So we can close out this timeline template, and then we can grab our camera boom. And we want to get the arm length. We want to set the target arm length. The track 0, that's what we just created. It's going to go into the target arm length, and then we're going to update that information. So if we go back to it, let's see if this works. Yeah. So I'm zooming in. Can't really see everything because it's blocking me off here. But we can fix that now, actually. So go to your camera boom, and then for target offset, let me get the view part. Green is Y, red is X, and blue is Z. So X, Y, Z, you can see it in this, so you hit the drop down menu. It also, you can set it up like that. But it should be the second one, and it's going to be 50, and you can see the camera moves slide to the right. So if I look at it now, it's now angled to the right of my shoulder a bit, so I'm not zooming right into his back. So escape, and we will go back to the AB player, because we actually want to set up the aiming animation for our rifle now, or where our rifle's going to be pointing with the angle direction. So if he's aiming upward, we want to have him aim upward. So let's create a variable and we'll call it aim angle. And that's going to be of type float here. And we are going to set it right here. We also want to get the is aiming logic. So wait, maybe I'll do this first. Actually, I kind of want to change this to a validated get. So let me change this to a validated get. You just right click and then you change it to a validated get, and it'll only get this if it's valid. So let's do this first. Let's get aiming. Yeah, let's get our aiming first and then link these kind of together. So set is aiming. So if this, then it is aiming. Let's try to drag that on there. Let's create a sequence. And I'll just drag off this one, put it into here. So a sequence just does, it basically just splits the execution pin so you can do multiple things, and it'll do it in order. Then 0, then 1. All right, now going back to messing with the aim angle here. So we want to get the base rotation. Get base aim rotation. And we want to get the delta rotation off of this. Delta rotator. And we have the actor rotator already, so we can just attach that here. Then we can split this struct pin, and I think it should be Y. I think it's Y would be the. So we need to clamp this. Clamp the float. And it's going to be from -60 to 60. You can change the angle for this, but this is going to be how far he can bend backwards in aiming. So this just, this is a limiter. Like you clamp something off. And that's going to go into the aim angle. I might need to inverse this. We'll see. We'll see in a second if I need to inverse it. I think I do. But let's see. Let's get the bone. Forgot the transform, modify bone. That's it. All right. So we want to transform, modify bone, and just attach that here, attach this here. Let's find the bone we want. So in the bone to modify, where's spine 1? I think spine 1's low. Spine 4 is, I think, in the middle somewhere. It'd actually be better if you actually modified all the bones slightly and clamped them. I think that would be a more precise bending, but we'll see how this works. Let's split this. So I'm looking here, aim angle. What am I doing? Oh, I didn't. Okay, go to the rotation mode and add to existing. Okay, so now we can see it, and it is X. as you can see here, the rotator is in the X direction here. The red. So that should be fine, maybe? Oh, okay. So it is inverted. So let me change that real quick. So let me go back to my event graph, and I need to add so I need to create the inverse of whatever this is. So I'm going to multiply it by a -1, and that should fix that problem. Yeah, it's following my angle now. So now we have the issue that I am sliding across the ground when I'm aiming. So to fix that, we need to go back into the anim graph, go into locomotion, go to aiming, and we need to layer it by bone. So layered blend per bone, that's what it's called. And you're essentially splitting it between the bottom half and the top half. So the top half is going to be the iron sights, and the bottom half we're going to have the normal BS player movement thing. And let's attach speed here and direction. All right, that should be fine. Maybe. There we go. Leave the blend weight at 1. It's fine, I think. Okay. So I'm now aiming, and it looks good. I think I want to aim the camera a little bit up more. It's kind of, it's got I'm kind of at waist level when I'm zooming in, and I want to be a little bit higher up. So if I take this, aim at camera boom, yeah, camera boom. 50 seems to be the magic number. Just kind of aiming towards my shoulder there. That's fine. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. You can play around with those values. Next we need to get an aiming thing. Why did I forget the word for it? Whatever, you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So for this, you kind of just want to Google crosshairs. There we are. I just remember the word. Google the crosshairs and just download an image of a crosshair. And I'll show you exactly where we're going to put it in a second. I will give you, okay. So I created a folder named HUD, and now in this folder, we want to create a widget blueprint. So I'm just going to look up widget blueprint, and it's going to be the user widget. Select it. I'm going to call it WB for widget blueprint, and then call it UI. We're going to use it for more than just this later on. So I'm going to create a canvas here, canvas panel, drag it either on here or in here. Just going to drag it on here. Close it. Not close it. Remove the letters that you had in there. And we want an image. Just drag the image in. This thing is called an anchor, and it will anchor it into a position. So if you're changing like the details of like the screen or something like that, having an anchor will anchor it to whatever position you have. So if you're going from a computer to an iPhone to some other stuff. But it also helps with zeroing it to the middle, although it's always off. So just add a 0.5 for the alignment and a 0.5, and I'll center it right in the center there. So I have my picture. To get that Crosshair PNG, all I did was look up Crosshair PNG and then just select a crosshair that you like and then save it to wherever. I'm going to drag it into my folder. There it is. That's all you have to do. Then you close it. Boop. And then you drag it into, can't see it. Go to your image and click on this down arrow next to the brush, and you just drag it into that place where it says image. And now your image is there, distorted because it's size X is 100 and my size Y is 40. So I'm just gonna make this 100. That might be entirely too big, but we'll see. Going back to your event graph and your blueprint, we need to add this widget blueprint. So add widget, maybe it's not add, it's widget something. Create widget. Cool. And then we just want to, in the drop down menu, select the widget that we created. And then we just want to add this to the viewport. Add to viewport. That should be it. Oh my gosh, those are, that is massive. Yeah, that's way too big. Okay, so quick fix. All right, that's what I'm doing. Let's just make it 50. I know you guys can't see it, but I have a giant like recording bar up here. It's just blocking my toolbar. All right, so Control Shift S, everything should be good. Cool, cool. And then he's aiming. And it's affecting his walk. Cool, cool, cool. And now that is good. Is that all I wanted to do? I think so. All right. Well, that's it. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next one.